Good evening, everyone. My name is Gerwin and welcome to Janderra. So it's been about 2 months since I did my last video going through how much I'd actually produced on the property, so what my weigh-ins were for SHEDWARS. So I thought I should probably do an update. Now, since the last video, I've actually been keeping track of my weights in a little notebook, just like Jess from Resonance Farm did. It was great inspiration. I've got all my weights in here. It's great. Makes it really easy to keep track of it. I just have that next to the scale and it's much easier than having to have my phone there all the time. And I kept having challenges with data getting lost or something like that. Anyway, so I've been inspired to do this video tonight by Andy from McDowall Manor, who's just put out his video showing what his tallies were for the month. So it's inspired me to do mine. Or probably kick up the backside rather than inspiration. But yeah, I'll leave a link to Andy from McDowall Manor's YouTube channel and this particular video. So it's a really good one because he goes through different seed saving tips as well, which is really great. So I'll leave a link to that. And yeah, let's get into it and have a look at how much I've actually produced over the last month. So last month was March. So this section here of my spreadsheet actually shows the totals for the different produces that I actually produced. And then I've got the total down here in the tallies. Now, I've noticed that there was a big drop this month from last month, which was actually a gain from the month before. And it was a drop from the month before that. So, it's interesting to actually look at what the cause of it. And I know what the cause of this month's big drop has been. So I'm not seriously concerned about that. But for the month of March, I brought in or produced 68 kilos of food. Or if my calculator is correct in Sheets, which is this is a Google Sheets program that I'm using, 150 pounds of food in March. Now, February I did 159 pounds or 72 kilos. January I did 63 kilos or 138 pounds. And December I did 78 kilos or 172 pounds. And I did nothing in November because I wasn't part of SHEDWARS then. So I wasn't tracking what my weight was. But let's have a look at what that actually breaks down to. So you've got March, I produced 56 kilos of milk. So this is goat's milk that I made. Well, the girls made. I milked it. I produced 8.4 kilos of eggs, which I'm really pleased with. No cucumbers, which the boys were very disappointed about. 110 grams of beans. So that's not huge. 170 grams of celery. Actually thought it was a bit more than that. Oh, no, that was February. February, I would have done most of that, actually. No strawberries, no capsicums, no mint, no peppermint, no tomatoes, 340 grams of basil. And I've got a lot more basil to harvest in April, so I'm planning on doing a lot of preserving with that. 40 grams of chives. What else have we got there? Let's bring this over a bit. 30 grams of chives. 40 grams of parsley. Oh dear, I can't read my own numbers. I haven't picked any Okinawa spinach except for what I gave to the goats. Haven't done any Malabar spinach either, or Pella spinach, or the longevity spinach. And a lot of that is because I'm on a low reactive diet and I can't eat it, so I'm not making foods with it, and Gavin doesn't tend to go out there and harvest it. So I'm actually been inspired by down on Boddington farm, and I'll leave a link up there. Where is it? I'll leave a link up there to their video that they just brought out tonight, which is all showing Bibby's Malabar spinach and how she's actually processed it and dehydrated it. So from that, I've been inspired to actually go through and dehydrate all of those foods that I can't currently eat so that I can use them later when I can eat them and I can still benefit from that harvest, and I'll be able to use it in smoothies and all sorts of different forms of cooking. So I'm really, really excited about that actually, because I've been so disappointed because my Okinawa spinach and my longevity spinach and my Malabar spinach and my Pella are just doing fantastically, and I can't eat them at the moment, so I haven't been harvesting them. I've just been giving it to the goats, which is quite sad. So I'm looking forward to doing that. I've just got to find the dehydrator. It's still packed in a box out in the shipping container, I think. Oh, a bit disappointing, really. So yeah, anyway, so no moringa, but the moringa trees are going really, really well. I'm really pleased with those. Haven't had any beetroot. No shallots, although I think pretty sure I did actually harvest some shallots, but they weren't real heavy, so it didn't really come up on the scales, and it wasn't a huge amount. I don't have that many shallots growing at the moment either. I had planned to plant a lot more, but life just hasn't quite gone to plan in the last few months. 1.6 kilos in pumpkin. I was really excited about that one actually. 35 grams in spinach, 45 grams in leek, and 500 grams in mung beans. And that mung bean total should be a lot higher than that, but it didn't occur to me until 2 months into sprouting these things that I should be weighing them. So I've just been happily eating these mung beans that I've been sprouting and forgetting to actually weigh them. So let's look into what actually happened and why my totals dropped so dramatically. Well, it's not so dramatically really. It's only really 3 kilos. But I know a lot happened that actually produced that big drop. It's been a really difficult month on the property. So yes, so some lessons learned. There are a few things that I need to prepare for a lot better, especially if I'm sick. And at the beginning of the month, Matthew actually got sick. So that's why we had a bit of a drop here in the eggs, because Matthew usually collects the eggs and he wasn't well enough to go out and do them, and I totally forgot about them because I was so used to him taking care of it. So he was sick here, and honestly he's only just gotten better in the last couple of days. So pretty much most of March he's been sick. So it all ended up falling over to me, so that I was doing all of the animal chores and all of the garden chores. So, and then around here I got sick, and I'm still not better. You can probably hear it a bit in my voice, so not a lot happening around here at the moment. So when I got sick, I actually had to drop down my milking schedule. Actually, this wasn't when I got sick. I think this was around when Matthew went on camp, and I just wasn't able to milk the goats in the evening. This would have been when I got sick. That won't have been when Matthew went to camp either. I'm not sure what happened there. Honestly, I'm not 100% sure. I just know Matthew's been sick for at least 3 weeks, and so have I. So from this point on, it got to the point, like, there was a couple of days there where I wasn't able to milk in the evening, so I was only milking once a day. So I was getting, like on this day here, I got 3 litres of milk. It's around 3 litres of milk I was getting each day when I was milking twice a day. And then it has gradually just decreased because I have only been able to milk the girls once a day, and I've been forcing myself to do that. And yeah, I haven't always been able to keep up with collecting the eggs. I've been keeping up with feeding and watering the girls, so that's really good. But, oh, and this spot here, Mary put her foot in the milk bucket. It was a good 2 litres of milk too. It wasn't fun. I was not happy with the goat. But the other side of that too, if I wanted to prevent that sort of thing occurring, I could either tie her legs back, like I think it was Daisy Gray's farm. They did that with their goat milking video, which was a great video. Did a great job, guys. They've got dwarf Nigerians, I think, if I remember correctly. Actually, I know what happened back here. That was when I fell over. I had a fall in the when I was doing the chicken chores, and really badly hurt my wrist and hands, and my knees. So there was a couple of really nasty days there. But then I kind of got back on my feet again, but then fell back off them again. And so yeah, so the goat milking has dropped down to once a day, and you can see that and now there's a few other things that's affecting this milk production as well. So you've got a couple of days where it's going down, then you've got it going back up again, and then it's drifting back down again. And part of that is the amount of grass the girls have had to eat. So these 2 days where they jumped up a bit was when they had huge amounts of grass, and that just really skyrocketed their milk production. This was a couple of the last 2 days. They've had a lot of extra grass, so they've been producing a lot more milk. But yeah, so the milk production is a little bit all over the place, and a lot of that is because of I haven't been well enough to actually milk at the same time each day. Some days it's not lunch, it's lunchtime before I get to milk. Other days I'm out milking at 9, and that is not good for consistent milk production. It's not tragic. The girls will actually adapt to it, and it won't dry the goat up completely. At least this is my experience. And I have had this happen before. I actually had a point there a couple of years ago where I was only milking once every 2 days. So yes, and I'm still struggling a lot at the moment. I've been to the doctors, and the doctor has actually said the virus has gone into my hands. So there are days when I wake up when I can't move my thumbs at all. I was taking quite heavy amounts of painkillers just to get the goats milked, which thankfully I've been able to drop back a bit since I've seen the clinical nutritionist, who wants me to stay on the low reactive diet for a lot longer by the looks of it. And he's given me a whole heap of ideas on how I can help manage the pain a little bit better. And hopefully it starts to settle down now, although I am starting to think that I may need to look at getting an x-ray after that fall, because I'm getting a bit of clicking happening in my wrists. So it's a bit of a challenge. So you may have noticed in a lot of lives lately I haven't been typing as much as I would normally. So yes, it's been a challenge, but this is one of the things that I need to prepare for on the farm. I need to look into alternatives to what's going to happen if I can't milk. Like Jess at Resonance Farm, she's got a milking machine, so that would be reasonably easy for anybody else to take over. But at the moment, the way we stand here on our homestead, I'm the only one that can actually milk the goats, which is a problem. It is a very big problem, because if I am in a situation where I can't milk for whatever reason, whether it's my hands are stiffened up or I'm just not well enough to get up. And half the reason why I fell over in the paddock in the first place was because I was pushing myself too hard while I was sick in the rain, which was not a good idea. It's half the reason why I'm still sick and it's taking me so long to get better. On top of everything else that's been happening in the last 12 months, it's just been, it's been a rough month, but I'm still really encouraged by these totals. I mean, even having a very bad month, and a lot of the production in the aquaponics has decreased. Like, I'm not getting the cucumbers that I was, and part of that is the transplanting over to the new system. So when we moved from the small system to the bigger system, it made a big impact on the growth of the plants. And I should have planted some more cucumbers when new cucumber plants when we moved that, but there were just too many other things that needed to be done. Have increased the amount of celery we've been eating, or the celery I've been eating, but still hasn't been a huge amount because it hasn't quite recovered from the transplant yet either. And there's a lot of other plants that are only starting to actually recover. I mean, they look fantastic, and the longevity spinach and the Pella and the Okinawa spinach are doing fantastically, but I can't eat them. So it knocks the stuffing out of the totals. But egg production has gone up nicely while I've been looking after the chickens, and I suspect that's because I was a little bit more consistent with making sure they had food and water than Matthew was. But he's only 11, and I'm grateful for his help, and he's learning. So it's important for him to learn now, so that when he becomes an adult, he knows what to do, and he's gained responsibility for looking after pets. Not that chickens are pets, but that's all good. Anyway, so in total, I'm actually really pleased still with the progress we're making. I mean, 68 kilos of food produced on the homestead is huge. I mean, the goat's milk alone, that's 56 kilos of milk, or 56 litres basically. And to buy goat's milk here, 1 litre is $5. I mean, I wouldn't be buying 56 litres of goat's milk because it is just too expensive. So I'm ridiculously excited about that. The 8.4 kilos of eggs, also really great. I'm not sure how many that works out to in average numbers, but they're about 70 grams an egg. So yeah, a bit disappointed about the cucumbers and not having any harvest there. The beans, I probably have a lot more there that I could harvest, but they too haven't quite recovered all that well. The celery, the last 3 weeks I haven't been harvesting as much of that because I've just been not feeling well enough to actually make anything with the celery. The leeks, oh, the basil, we've really been enjoying the basil actually. And I've run out of my basil pesto, so it's time to make some more. The boys love it. So they've been having it with crackers and having it as dip for the morning tea, which is lovely. But yeah, I'm really pleased with how things are going, but I also know that it's going to get better. So I'm really looking forward to what next year is going to bring, because this is our first year on this property. And the aquaponics system that we've got at the moment is only a brand new system. It's only been up and running for 2 months, I think, if that. So I'm really, really pleased with the way everything is producing, given all of the circumstances that have been happening. So yeah, I hope you found that interesting and helpful. And my one tip I can probably give is one that was given to me when I went to a permaculture workshop. I can't remember who was running it, but it was a gentleman that's got he had an organic pig farm up on the Sunshine Coast, but he also had goats. And he was telling me that, because when I got there I was quite stressed because I had to make sure that I'd milked the goats before I got there, because I was really strict and stressed on making sure that I milked the goats twice a day because I thought they were going to get mastitis or some other dreadful disastrous thing was going to happen. And he made a point of telling me that in a lot of other cultures they make a point of having one day, like they usually have a specific day. I think it's a lot of them it's the Sunday that they'll actually have the day off and they won't milk for that one day, and the goats just adjust to that, so they get used to that pattern. The hard thing for my girls at the moment is there is no real pattern, and half of that is because I'm pushing myself ridiculously to even milk them when I do. And if I had, ideally what I'd like to do is have a stockpile of goat's milk stored up in the fridge. Not in the fridge, sorry, dehydrated in the cupboard, so that if something like this happens, I can just let the goats dry out and give myself a chance to really heal. Either that or the other alternative is to actually have the goat kids on them still and be kid sharing. That is the other alternative. We had to sell our goat babies because we couldn't keep them in the fencing, and because of the whiplash that I have, I can't do the star pickets at the moment. With my hands, I can't even do tread-in posts. It's a challenge. But the whiplash has made it so that I can't actually get the star pickets into the ground, which is what I would normally have had done. I would have put the star pickets in and set up some permanent electric fencing so that I could move them around regularly, but I haven't been able to do that. So we ended up with a major problem with fencing with the goats. So my tip is consistency with goat milking is important. but don't kill yourself to try and get it done. The goats will survive. Their milk production will go down. You don't regain milk that gets lost, and the milk production will drop. But it can also go back up again if you're lucky, and if you're willing to put that extra milking in to actually bring the milk supply back up again. So yes. Anyway, I hope you found that helpful. And if you've got any comments, questions, or suggestions, please leave them below. If you've got any negative feedback, I'd really rather not at the moment. Yeah, not coping real great at the moment with the world. Just very tired and not feeling well. So I really appreciate some gentleness in the comments. But what will be will be. Love to hear your comments, love to hear your feedback, love to see how much you've been growing. But yeah, you have a great one, and we'll catch you in the next one. Bless you.